A lot of it from IP.
Voluntary interaction.
He needed the state to get his money.
But how is he converting?
So after the state, how would he be able to continue with all that wealth?
Well, now that he's got it, he can use it to make more wealth. He's got
But we won't use
capital.
dollars anymore.
Yeah.
Well,
He's got
the currency
land.
doesn't
He can
matter.
buy land.
He can convert it to whatever, right?
He
I
can
mean,
convert
look,
it
even-
into anything you can trade.
Yeah,
He's got
right.
to protect his own land.
But we ignore Bill Gates. Where's the power? Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Hold on,
same
where's
people
his
that are
power,
selling
but
him
what
the
about
gold
the land
say,
that
we
he
don't
owns?
like your
someone from
currency
Bill Gates
anymore,
that
and they
you
just
can
keep
get
it.
him to survive.
Let me get a,
And then
okay,
his
if I steal from him and I buy land, is it my land?
I had this question last night. What if I owned Michigan? What if I was Bill Gates and I bought
Why
Michigan?
would you steal from him?
He's basically saying because
saying
we
Bill
have
Gates stole
statism now,
No.
everyone is so contaminated that we
wouldn't
can't have a
we
free.
wouldn't have corporatism after the state.
Okay.
Everyone's contaminated. We
But-
should forget it.
I agree.
Be equal. I mean,
Yeah.
just quit.
Yeah.
What you want to do is level everybody,
Yeah.
and that requires more violence than anything we've seen
Right.
so far.
That's not what I want.
But he doesn't want to use violence.
That's what you want, but you don't have a route to get there.
I'm not giving it up.
I think the shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves in 3 generations will take Bill Gates' money in a relatively free society.
It's an very interesting argument that said that actually the market equalizes.
Yeah.
That natural market forces will destroy accumulations of capital because accumulation of capitals have to be protected. Without the state, you can't socialize that protection. Therefore, the more property you have, the more expensive it gets to
That
protect it.
seems to be what the Fortune 500 declares.
Well, I mean,
Because
I'm not a market
Alcoa
guy. I
is
mean,
not
like,
the
I'm not
biggest
going to make
company
market
in
arguments,
America
but there's
anymore.
it's out there. The idea that natural market forces
Yeah.
tend
The free
to
market
equalize. I'm saying that natural social forces tend to equalize. And if we want to be cool with each other, if we want to have anarchy, then we need equality.
I think we're saying the same
And
thing.
it's not equality exact. Like it doesn't mean I have exactly what he has. It doesn't. It means that I keep what I have, you guys keep what I have, and we deal with each other on equal terms.
Right.
And we don't get to use the history of the state to our benefit.
I think
I
we
don't
all
get to
agree.
use stuff I stole from IP property, and I get to use that now to now control other people.
So we're
That's
all
not fair.
anarcho-socialists then. 'cause
So we
we
should get
agree.
It
reparations.
depends. Like if you're saying no, I kind of think that Bill Gates should keep his IP money, then you're I don't know, maybe.
I don't know if
that's not-
everyone understands.
not what I'm talking
agrees
about.
with that. I think
But if
everyone
you're
would
saying
have
that
a
Bill
problem.
Gates doesn't get it, then there is a space.
But the thing
for
is,
anarcho
what do
capitalism.
you do? I think you had a good question, this guy here. How do you get the transition without increasing the level of violence and statism? Because remember, violence creates the state.
I think that the state is a social relationship. And it talks about what Lou talks about. The state is a religion. That people believe the state is legitimate, therefore they behave as it's legitimate, and they create social relationships as if it's legitimate. I want to transform the social relationships. That's how I see it going about. I can't give a plan because any plan will come from me and not the people who have to do
So
it.
you like to talk about the interaction, which is the word mutualism. In other words,
Yes.
it's a dynamic,
Yes.
not a concept.
I want to create solidarity and mutuality and gifting and social
You
relationships.
can't talk about goals because there's always
absolutes.
goals that never
I
happen.
was talking about what I want.
Right. And and so so in a way to do that, you try to set up those things that would reflect the society that you want to see.
Yeah.
So, you have 2 quotes. You have one from the IWW, which is you create the new society within the shell of the old. And then you have Gandhi, who I think everyone knows this quote.
Yeah.
Be the change you want to see in the world. And so, yeah. So if you really, so anarchists kind of reflect those values. We create mutual aid situations so that people can get free food, and if people want to continue that free food idea, they help out. They do things to help out with you. They contribute labor. They get something out of it, and they also help other people, and that creates more of the idea.
Was me.
And, then you got also other situations where, like, let's say you had abandoned factories, or a certain factory was, like, as in Murray Rothbard had in his essay, 50% of the profit that they made was a state factor. Well, then those workers, maybe even as a radical union, could homestead that factory.
I actually think that's a really good transition
And
idea.
that's what syndicalism is all about. Syndicalism is about uniting the workers of the world, and in that sense, give them a chance to
I really have the thing is you're siphoning all the state factor to a very small group of beneficiaries when if 200 million taxpayers pumped up that 50% of that corporation, how dare you siphon it to those 400 workers on the floor when they contributed such a fraction? They have to buy out all the other people somehow.
Well, wouldn't all those other people also be getting an unequal share of whatever?
Yeah, they'd be people like us that weren't on the factory floor.
And if you're a stockholder, how do you?
Yeah, exactly. Look what happened to all the stockholders in the UAGM bailout.
Right.
Yeah.
One other just quick question. You say the union would go, and the unionized workers would go. Wouldn't that also be a state if they're unionized?
Yeah. No, you can have
If they homesteaded it, it would
Who
be
are
a
they
state.
stating? Who are they oppressing?
Well, they're deciding everything amongst each other.
Yeah.
That means if they vote on something, the minority is automatically then forced to follow the
So
majority.
you're concerned about democratic processes and minorities in those processes maybe not being heard.
And the weird thing is,
Well, no, democracy is bullshit anyways. I mean, it's nothing more than gang rape, so who cares?
What's democracy?
Democracy is when the will of the majority forces out the will of the
So you're talking about
minority.
majoritarian democracy.
That's democracy as purity.
Well, democracy means the people rule, right?
Yeah.
Are you the people?
What does
That
even
depends
mean?
if I'm the one in charge, if I'm the one who
If
won.
he's the one in the majority,
Well,
then
yeah.
that's majoritarian democracy. There also is a thing called consensus democracy, where everyone has to agree. Or
Well, that's
actually,
what they had
actually,
told.
not everyone has to agree. Unanimity democracy, where everyone has to agree. Consensus democracy is where no one objects. You know,
Well, that's what they had
but
in the
one
Golden
person can say,
Rule.
"I object," and now the whole process has to halt and figure out why that person is having a problem.
Oh, and you
fix that
negotiate
problem.
it out.
And it's negotiated out. Social relationship. There's no power over. I'm not saying I get to roll over you, or if I have 10 people, you get rolled over because we have the majority. It's about, because that would be an uneven domination. That would be an uneven social relationship. The majority wins.
yes.
Whereas a consensus process would be like,
That would
let's
be
get
an
it where
equal
everybody can
relationship.
What if you had an unreasonable, like a lot of guys, they'd rather just sleep all day. Like a lot of surfers when I was in California, they basically didn't, they panhandled and they surfed. And they didn't want to be employed. Would they be considered unempowered because they really know, oh, okay, fine. So they wouldn't be able to come back later and say, I'm for me because I like to surf. Okay, yeah.
Okay, we're already doing the Q&A, but like now we've been
It's all things we can.
yeah, okay, so then.
Is anyone dissatisfied? We want to make any comments? Let's wrap it up, maybe.
I mean, we can give you, if you guys want resources so you can look into these ideas themselves, because, you know, a lot of the big disconnection that happens between groups is that you don't actually like give the other ideas a chance because you kind of built up that fear in you or not even fear, but that kind of bias which says that, all right, this is automatically wrong because I know this definition is what is to be true.
Yeah.
But if you kind of let yourself be like, okay, there are other definitions out there, there's other ways to go about these things, then you kind of open yourself up to being able to learn from these other anarchists. Whether you keep the opinions that you have now, hey, I mean, that's your prerogative, you know? But giving other ideas a chance and not necessarily kind of ruling them out necessarily can give you a lot more of a better understanding of the ideas around you. You know, I think I heard a lot of people saying just like how the European anarchists are more statist, and that's not true. You read a lot of their works, they were very anti-statist. You know, they did not want to work within the state. A lot of anarchist manifestos that were developed during World War II, they had no latching onto the state at all. You know, even the Spanish revolutionists, when they had Barcelona for that little bit and tried to make a stronghold for anarchism, the reason why they ended up losing out after 3 years is because they made an unfortunate team up with one of the communists who were supporting the republic, and you know, you lose out on those certain means.
It seems like we have probably like 90% agreement where we are, and it seems like where it gets into, you know, I think almost lack of understanding is that in these tough situations where you try, they're not lifeboat situations, but there's an ambiguity, and we try to figure out how is it best to work this out.
And a lot of the time, you know, and anarchists are really trying to help people out through that process as well. There are a lot of sites. like I said, I think I plugged c4ss.org once.
They don't use the Oxford comma, so like I can't really respect that. I mean, it's really bad.
Yeah.
I really, when I see somebody that bans, I go, you are a narcissist. That doesn't want to go about. You know, and I'm telling you, that serial comma. When I see somebody enforcing that, I go, you've got a personality problem. I'm serious.
Got hand up for quite a while.
I mean, it's what was that?
I wanted to say that I've met quite a few people that think that you have to accept an idea to even think about that idea, like a thought process, when really you can just entertain an idea until it is an acceptable
Classic
idea.
Aristotle.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. The mark of an educated mind is the ability to entertain an idea without accepting it.
Yeah, and you know, and so we want to try. I think the goal of this was not necessarily to convince you guys that we're correct. You guys are all wrong.
Oh, I think just getting us to understand what you're saying is very hard.
To give you that open mind to like say, okay, I want to know more about this. Let me look up the resources and figure this out on, on my own.
You know, I'll tell you, my problem with learning like from Carson is I looked at all his books and I guess I'm like average intelligence person. I could not figure out what he was saying in the sentences.
It's different terminology and
Yeah.
it's a different culture.
And
different
since
background.
I didn't see a dictionary for it. Mises is just as bad.
Yeah,
as
if you don't know
Mises.
Mises and you start reading
I
it,
agree.
you need to have the inferential background.
And the
to
problem is,
understand
unless I know Kevin Carson really hits the nail on the head, my thought is going to be, am I going to invest? And these books are thick and they're wall to wall.
And
They're
that's
really
why-
poorly typeset. But I go, what if he never hits the payoff?
I think they're free online.
You know,
Oh, yeah,
but my time is my only
Yeah.
resource. It's the only finite resource.
And I would say, like, all right, if you don't want to start off with the books because you want to learn more of the terminology, there are a lot of resources online. Like I said, c4ss.org. Then you got Info Shop.
It really would be cool to see like a guy like Stefan Kinsella in Carson start like having a
They
dialogue.
did have
I don't
a
know
little
about
bit of a
debate 'cause
dialogue.
I don't like debate strips truth down to a
They
sentence
did have
and
a
it doesn't
little.
work.
They do have a little bit of dialogue.